Bismillah, you're on. Go.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
153.
Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulih al-kareem. Amma ba'd. We express our praise and gratitude to Allah Ta'ala. We seek blessings on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Amen.
Okay, so last time, 2 classes ago, we looked at ayah 152. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. So remember me, I remember you, and be grateful to me, and do not reject me. And the point we drew our attention to there was that Allah Ta'ala is telling us to remember Him, but He does remember us. And then not only are we being told to remember Him, as we remember Him, be grateful to Him, and as we remember Him. The opposite of shukr is kufr. The opposite of shukr is kufr. And we've looked at many opposites or we've looked at kufr as many opposites of things. We said in the general Quranic definition, kufr is to feel compelled to turn to Allah Ta'ala, but suppressing that compulsion. And what does that even deeper than that mean? It means you're being ungrateful. So if you're being ungrateful to Allah, that is not kufr itself, but that is the path to lead to kufr, ingratitude. And I've made that point over and over again that every single converted atheist, person who converted to atheism, their core issue has always been resent of some sort. Sometimes it's resent that starts from a broken heart. Sometimes it's resent that starts from feeling like you deserve, like a sense of entitlement. I will also say that every single person I've ever met who turned to a very aggressive, militant approach to Islam has also been the same story too. That's something you probably haven't heard of me. That people who left Islam, a'udhu billah, have left because of this sense of ingratitude, this sense of resent. But people who've also become very, very militant about their deen, assalamu alaikum, have also had the same personality. Just some go deep into the deen in very strange, selective ways, and some people leave the deen. Same personality type.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, for example, this kid that I talked about, this student of mine who was killed along with Anwar al-Awlaki. I talked about him before, right?
No.
Oh, I didn't?
You talked about it, yeah.
Really?
I didn't hear that.
Oh, I feel like I was talking about it. I knew this young man since he was a kid, and his dad was very active in the community and such, and so he would tag along with his dad.
Desi kid?
Desi kid, yeah, Pakistani kid, and he ran away from home. They lived on the East Coast, and then his parents called me up. His parents called me up saying, "Hey, can you help us find him? I don't know where he is." Turned out he ran away to Chicago, North Carolina, and yeah.
How old was he?
At that time, 21.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, he wasn't like.
He was like your...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't get the bright ideas here.
How far exactly?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the reason was because he met a girl in a chat room who was telling him, "You have to save me. My father beats me, and this and that." So he thought, "Okay, I will save you," because all of these young guys have this superhero martyrdom complex. And
some older men do.
As soon as he said that, he looked at you though.
So he secretly conducted his marriage tour. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He conducted his marriage
Did she know
to
that?
her. Yeah, I think she was. Like the witnesses were 2 of his friends. Everyone was around age 20, and her sister who was like age 14 or something. And I don't even know if no, they'd be a little bit older than all of you. And this is all taking place here in Chicago. I never did find out who his bride was. Then in that time, he discovers Anwar al-Awlaki and starts listening to his...
Before Anwar al-Awlaki turned?
Right when he turned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anwar al-Awlaki was a very popular scholar about 10, 15 years ago. Not that long ago, but probably about 10 years ago. He was very, very popular.
When you say turned, do you mean like when he turned radical or something?
Yeah, and he had a couple lecture sets that were all basically about Muslims fighting and this and that. And so in the process, I watched him transform. Right.
The kid.
The kid.
I see.
And we all would talk to him saying, all right, lay out what your arguments are, you know, because he started saying we all, as Muslims, we all have to go fight, and this and that. And part of the issue was that, okay, every time they're turning on the news and any time they go to a Jummah khutbah, you know, Muslims are being slaughtered and this and that, and they feel like they have to do something. And the rhetoric around in those circles of people who followed Anwar al-Awlaki was this rhetoric that, okay, the masjids have all sold out, the scholars have all sold out, you know, nobody has any integrity, and we have to be the real Muslims and this and that, right? And it was fueled essentially by anger. Okay. But that anger, and I'm guessing in all those cases, was something else, like this kid who has secretly married this girl, and now the weight of responsibility is falling upon him, and this and that. Right. And he became more and more aggressive in this line. And to the point he started making, his website turned from being a really interesting blog just about, you know, like a 20-year-old that's, you know, thinking about life in Islam and this and that, to videos of mujahideen doing this and that. And he progressively got more and more aggressive, and finally his father let him go overseas in theory to learn Arabic, but his father said, okay, the second you stop telling me what you're doing, I'm not going to send you any more money. But the strange thing that was happening was that his bank account was closed over here, yet he decided to try his ATM and he's still able to take money out. Right. Oh, I forgot one very important element of the story. Somebody came to him at North Carolina basically trying to recruit him to go fight.
Jihad.
Yeah, yeah. And he showed him supposedly this sword that had the blood of the kuffar on it, right? So the kid told all of us, and we're like, are you serious? Okay. You really believe this? Right? You're being set up. Who fights with swords?
And a horse and a shield.
Yeah. It's like He-Man Masters of the Universe sword.
They show a guy falling with like chainmail armor and a big cross.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And yeah, I mean, he is buying into it hook, line, and sinker. Like,
You know, when
I have a
Omer
special
Mozaffar
mission.
was legit, he was really legit, you know? And when he turned, he really turned, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, even when he was legit, I didn't like him very much because
Really,
I felt
like the lives of the prophets,
I felt his tone was too negative for me.
Oh, is that right?
But this was in the 90s, though. Everyone's tone.
Everybody's negative. So I didn't listen to anybody. Yeah,
All the
yeah,
Muslim
yeah.
lectures, even Hamza Yusuf, are all dire, jihad, struggle, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I didn't listen to Hamza Yusuf at that time either. So then he was still somehow able to take money out from the bank, and obviously, okay, you know, the electronic system of the world, you're not going to be able to take money out by accident, right? And he was able to do it repeatedly. So the natural assumption is that, you know, the feds were monitoring him the whole way. Meaning the feds repeatedly visited his father, saying, you know, we're watching his blog and his language is getting more and more aggressive and this and that. And
So he was a student of Anwar al-Awlaki.
well, I mean, so he made his way to Dubai and eventually to Yemen, where he apparently connects with Anwar al-Awlaki. And so, I mean, you've probably heard about him. Like, he was the American cyber jihadi who published this Al-Qaeda magazine in English. And yeah. Well, you're not
Killed by
supposed to be
a drone
here.
strike,
Yeah.
right?
And then,
Yeah.
and one day I woke up and I noticed on my Twitter feed, Anwar al-Awlaki's been killed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
It was like
And I'm
2000,
looking, and then he was also killed too.
2005, 2004.
I think a little bit more recent than that, maybe 2010, 11.
Wait, killed by who?
Drone
That's
strike.
right. It was under Obama
By what?
that he was.
By a drone strike.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
2010, I think.
And that specific drone strike, just those two.
And then his
No,
son,
a week later,
What?
a week later, Anwar al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son was also
16-year-old son,
Yeah.
assassinated.
Wait, when was this?
It's like 3 years ago.
Because you see, my social studies teacher, Mr. Hamilton, said there was some Muslim who did some jihad thing, and like the story
Only one.
behind it was because the writ of habeas corpus was suspended and he was killed without trial.
There could be talk about Anwar al-Awlaki.
He's an American citizen. That's why.
Yeah, the
that's
big
why
issue is
legally
it's
it's a problem because he's an American citizen.
No, because it happened in the Civil War and that's what we were learning about.
But my point in all this is that in terms of mindset and temperament, the fuel was anger. The fuel from start to finish was anger, right? And it was anger, it was frustration over these personal matters, right?
I'm wondering, you know, why we didn't capture that kid before he slipping.
This kid?
Yeah.
Oh, we kept talking to him over and over again. We talked to him. And I probably still have all the emails. I mean, just over and over and over and over again. I even had him, if you give me all your arguments and we'll present them, we'll discuss them. And, his core argument is that, we have to fight to defend the Muslims and this and that. But he had no foundation. And, we tried being polite, we tried being aggressive, we tried everything, right?
What do you think is their agenda? They're gonna actually form and speak and try to fight
Well,
it.
the element of denial that plays out is basically that, okay, if we go fight in the way of Allah, we're going to win because we're going to become shaheed,
Wait, like,
or-
sorry for sounding suspicious, but like who like actually go
fight against the
with
kuffar,
government
and
or
essentially against the
something,
U.S.,
or,
And we're going to become shaheed, therefore we win, or we're going to win, and suddenly, an Islamic utopia will be established, and
US.
across the world.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Looking back, do you think like therapy would have been a better
He
option?
also did that too.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. The thing is, when you're in that mindset, the same thing with converse to atheism is that you think you're smarter than everybody else. Right. I called out a trillion contradictions in his argument, inconsistencies, this and that, and he was like, no, I'm right, you're wrong.
But like, even therapy didn't.
He had a bunch of people around him, and in their cases, the parents got involved and kept everybody away from each other, and I think they eventually gave up on their anger. He continued and continued. Yeah.
He left his wife here and just went to...
So the wife, his father called her father, saying, we gotta talk. Our kids are married. He's like, what are you talking about? And then he goes, hold on. Comes back. I just asked my daughter. No, I have no idea who you are and what you're talking about. My daughter denies everything. And so his father says, well, you got a fax machine? Okay, and sends over the marriage contract. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I think both fathers, because they had no choice in the matter, they're like, okay, well, let's try to work it out then. I don't even know whatever happened with all that.
What a mess.
Yeah. And the worst part is, I think I accidentally told his father about the drone strike, because I sent his dad a message saying, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. His father probably did not even know.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a Friday, and that Sunday I was basically on Skype with his family, consoling him. Yeah. And his brother is taking the same road.
Are you serious?
What, right now he's on that road?
Yeah, I usually, every once in a while on Facebook I have to kind of...
What's
Is
his anger
he-
about?
Who is he
Is
following?
he overseas or is he here?
he's here.
All this other stuff.
Yeah. It's like my brother's a shaheed. You know. Because, another issue to really think about is that in our community we don't really acknowledge, substantive feelings and emotions and everything.
Yeah.
And what you keep hearing from me when you have a loved one who passes away is that you have to grieve. And we fall into this nonsense notion that, oh no, because of Islam, everything's okay. Yeah, it reminds me of another case, which I may have talked about, not in this class, in a different class. The interesting thing is, all these guys are short. Yeah. That's just like they all are.
Anger.
Yeah.
My family's tall. I'm saying, like what?
I just want
Yeah.
Says the tall guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are still growing. It's not intended towards you.
It's also
You don't qualify.
You're surrounded by people who are overloading you with love and blood and all that stuff, so you guys
A
got
lot of
excuse.
gentlemen.
Yeah. A lot of gentlemen.
But not be jolly.
Wait, so are you being serious? They were all short?
That's
Because this other person I'm thinking about is really, really small. Right.
Wow.
And
so...
Yeah, what's the good
sorry.
We're
I'm not
dying.
known for my
It's just
filters.
an observation.
Yeah.
No, but it's a pretty, that's crazy.
That's
Like,
profound actually, because
Total.
especially here in the West, physical height matters. If you're tall, you get noticed and people
I'm
listen.
sure there's a lot of privileges and attention that we've gotten just because of height, right? But in any case,
Look at this guy.
yeah.
It's true.
Like
No, it's very
suave
true.
right there.
So this other kid, this story.
Poor
He's not a kid. He's actually older than me.
ends.
So this other guy, he was a trauma surgeon, and in his case, he was driving in a Ford Explorer, so a big SUV, crossing a road, and this other driver in a little tiny Prius-sized car hit his car so hard that it flipped over.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And I mean, I don't think it flipped over once, must have flipped over a couple times. I mean, it was horrible.
Smokes.
And so everyone's like pinned in, and so he's watching his daughter die right before his eyes. Right? So,
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
and he went through that route where, you know, I'm a servant of Allah, Allah tests you. And,
He's a
you know,
trauma surgeon, for God's sake. He's
Yeah. And he's
his
watching
daughter
his
die.
daughter die. Yeah.
He's-
Yeah.
Was he
and he
watching
can't do
her
it.
die?
Because he's like all like pinned.
Yeah.
Because the car is like all bashed in. Yeah. And so a number of us mutual friends watched him go through this crazy thing, this crazy militancy, this downward cycle that's still going on. And he started, you know, making proclamations that I only follow the law of Allah, I don't follow any man-made law. And he'd send these letters to like the White House and the FBI and all this
my
stuff.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And they decided, okay, America is the land of hypocrites, so he moved the family over to Saudi Arabia. And they were
Wow,
like,
wow.
seriously, you're gonna move to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have any idea what you're gonna see? Right. And then he came back a year later, he's like, hey, Saudi Arabia's the land of the worst hypocrites. Comes here. And he continues, he sends proclamations to all the
work
authorities.
situation? Do people like let him come to work?
Sorry?
I mean, what's his work?
So his work whole situation all fell apart too.
Yeah.
And you know, he became so hardcore about everything that, okay, if it was time to pray, it didn't matter where he was. Okay, if time began now, wherever he is, somebody's house, doing surgery, he'd stop and start praying.
During surgery.
Like here, so he
Open belly.
he lost. Yeah, literally that's what was happening. So I mean, this sounds like this sounds crazy. I mean, this sounds crazy, but like he got hired by Doctors Without Borders because he couldn't get a job anywhere else, and he'd be praying,
He
and then
had
he'd
the
give a
orders.
scalpel to or whatever to you know, yeah.
Oh,
Wait, did he
Yeah.
have wudu though? Like
He
all
probably
the time, all the time.
he probably did, yeah.
Wow.
But if you just looked at him, he had the demeanor of someone who's just grossly unhappy, right? I mean, all these guys, it's just this fury.
dude, they need medication. These people need
Uh-huh.
medication. They need
Big
a hospital,
time.
inpatient hospital.
Yeah. Psych ward.
And
Yeah.
you know, the FBI contacted him, you know, and he's saying, so he goes, I mean, he got really frightened when the FBI called. Apparently, all of his faith wasn't around when that happened.